Since I imperfectly try to use the Charlotte Mason approach in our homeschool, I thought this would be a really great opportunity to share with you what we're doing in our morning basket right now, because it's been a while since I gave you an update, and also to give you just kind of a school update. My name is Joy and welcome to my channel. On this channel, I do videos about Charlotte Mason homeschooling, nature study, and family life. So I'm just going to run through kind of what our morning looks like right now, and then I'm going to share with you what I'm using for our different subjects in our morning time. So I've kind of adjusted our schedule. I was trying to be more relaxed last semester, and that was lovely, and I really enjoyed it, and it really helped me get some perspective. And then of course I did get pregnant, so then the whole month of December I was completely wiped out with morning sickness, and it was just, I was just in bed a lot, not very productive. But now I'm in my second trimester. I'm at about 18, 19 weeks into the pregnancy, and I have so much more energy. I'm actually not even needing to take a nap in the afternoon, which is wonderful. So we're getting a lot of things done, and I really just had to change some of the way our morning is flowing. So what I've been having the kids do is get up and start their chores, and once they finish their chores, if breakfast has not gotten to the table yet, I'm asking them to start their school. So sometimes that happens. Sometimes kids just get up straight away and really get going on it. And sometimes, I'm having to coach them along. So that's been something that is a good shift, because I'm trying to get them prepared for what the schedule needs to look like when baby comes. I need them to be working and helping have a productive morning and not just be playing as soon as they get up. I'm going to need them to make breakfast. I'm going to need them to, get the laundry started or set the table, those different things to, allow us to have a functioning home. And they're all old enough to be able to do that. Well, most of them, I've got 11 down to 2-year-old, and, about every 2 years. So especially the older ones can totally do that. So once we eat breakfast, kind of during that meal, Dad comes and joins us most days. We do our Bible reading, and I am actually using this book right now. This is called Seeking God's Face, Praying with the Bible Through the Year, and it is actually a liturgical calendar, or church calendar setup. And it starts off with an invitation. We go into a Bible song. Usually that is a psalm or a proverb, and I love getting those in every day. And then it moves us, kind of depending on where we are in the church calendar year, either an Old Testament or New Testament reading. Right now, because we are in Epiphany, we're kind of reading a lot of stories about Jesus's ministry, which is wonderful. And then it has some structured prayers. Sometimes we say the Lord's Prayer. And then it has a prayer that I pray. And another feature I just love is it ends with a blessing. So I'm like, okay, receive your blessing. And then I read that blessing over all of us. And then we say, this is the word of the Lord. And they say, thanks be to God. And it's just a beautiful way to start our day. I've really enjoyed this because it's short, but I feel like it also has some depth to it. So in our morning, after we've done the Bible, it kind of depends on the day. Either I read a fun read. Right now we're going through By the Shores of Silver Lake because my kids were begging for another Laura book. Or we just go straight into chores. So it just kind of depends on the day and the flow. I'm still trying to figure out that whole thing. But everybody has after breakfast chores so that we can get everything clean, get the dishwasher started for after breakfast, and then we move into our school work, into the schoolroom after, teeth are brushed, beds are made, all that stuff. So we're doing our independent work first, and that is really to enable me to help my first grader. So then I'll just go through, it kind of depends on the day, but sometimes at 10, sometimes at 11, it kind of depends on what time we start. We do our morning time. And the books that we're going through right now are the Blue Fairy book. We're reading this on Fridays as a fun read. So when we did this last, we of course did By the Shores of Silver Lake, and then we did Little Red Riding Hood out of here. And we've done so many wonderful ones. And we are working on narrations, especially for my less talkative, newer narrators. And that book has been so easy for them to narrate. You know, the stories are a little bit challenging because there is some, you know, real evil and some death and some, you know, like the wolf just gobbles up the kid, Little Red Riding Hood and grandmother, and that's it at the end of this one. So then the other book we're going through is Trial and Triumph. And I have just been looking at what the Ambleside selections are and kind of piecemealing. We're going to work our way through. We haven't done this book yet because I heard some people say that they had some reservations about it. There is, you know, again, lots of people dying because it's about Christian martyrs. But my kids really are enjoying it. We're also reading Plutarch, which is here. And we sometimes are reading these two on the same day when my younger kids are gone. And that allows kind of this heavier material to be read together, you know, when the little ones, you know, they're just not going to pay attention. So I was doing Anne White's guides, and I think that they're really good. But because of the age range, so I've basically got a second grader, a fourth grader, and a fifth grader listening, I had to pull back and go with a children's translation. And this has allowed us to get the narrative of the story. We're still getting the complicated names, and there's still even some vocabulary that we don't understand in here. But overall, it's a lot easier to comprehend, and we're getting the story arc. So we have really been enjoying going through this. Well, I say we. I've been loving it. Because I think the stories are so worthy and helpful. So we've got 2 nature reads going right now. And this one is actually an Advent book, but as I was reading through it, I was like, well, it doesn't really matter when you read it. Like, you don't need to read it during Advent. I just let the kids pick one of the animals from here, and then we read a little bit about them and what they're doing in the winter, because right now it is winter. So this has been really fun, and then they narrate from that. Another book that we're reading for nature study is The Girl Who Drew Butterflies, How Maria Marion's Art Changed Science, and this is by Joyce Sidman. I love this book. So this is a children's biography, basically, and it has these beautiful pictures in it. And Maria was a botanical artist, probably one of the first botanical artists, but she was also an entomologist. Like, she wouldn't have called herself that, but she studied bugs. She studied caterpillars and the changes of the metamorphosis. And at the time she was studying, nobody knew that, you know, the caterpillar in your garden became the butterfly in the summer. So it's been a really fun book. My kids love it. I love it. This is actually my second time reading through it. I read it myself. And then I'm doing it for her. So for picture study, I decided to go with an Art for Children book. This one is Albrecht Dürer. It's just easier for me to go through books right now. So we will do the kind of picture study process, which is, you know, have everybody look at the picture, and then we hide it. And then everybody goes around and tells back what they saw, and then we look at the picture again. Very simple, but I love having it in a book format. I do really love my friend Rebecca from A Humble Place. Her study aids are really helpful as well. Okay, so the next book we're reading is a biography of Johann Sebastian Bach. Joyce Mcpherson, she actually writes one of the Ambleside Online books that are recommended, the biography of Isaac Newton. These are wonderfully written, and actually she's one of my mentors for my church. So I was like, I really want to read her book, but it is so delightful, so lively, and has been really fun to read aloud. They're, short chapters, but what she has done in her biography series is get the Christian life perspective of each of these famous people. I think they're all the people she's done so far have been men. But I love that she really focuses on the Christian life and kind of their walk with the Lord. And she did so much research. It's been really fun to hear about her process as well. Okay, so for poetry, again, I just felt like it was easier to get a book. We're doing Carl Sandburg because we're on the year 5 poetry rotation for Ambleside Online. So I got these books and we just go through them and it makes it simple. Okay, and then we have one more year 5 book that we're doing, and this is the Halliburton Book of Marvels. And we're reading this once a week. And, everybody's getting it in right now. So my first grader all the way up through my 5th grader are hearing the stories. And we usually look up on YouTube a short video about one of the things that we read. So like New York City, we went and we looked up a bunch of stuff, because they've got these black and white pictures that aren't as exciting. And we are enjoying that one as well. But it's kind of like I pick it up, and if I miss a week with that one, I'm not as worried as some of the other ones. Okay, and now we're also doing Shakespeare, and we were on schedule to do one of the Richard plays, and I found out that I actually didn't have a children's copy of that. So I realized some of my younger kids hadn't done A Midsummer Night's Dream yet. And in that way, I'm just focusing more on them. My daughter had already she's read that play many times and many different translations of it. She reads Lamb's Shakespeare, for fun. But I really like this version because at the beginning of each, let's see if I can find Midsummer Night's Dream. Okay, the beginning of each play, they have a nice picture, but then they actually have the list of characters. And having the list of characters allows me to, at the beginning, the very first time we get together, I draw out each one of the characters and we talk about who the characters are and how they're related to one another. And that's the whole lesson. We don't even start reading that week. We start reading the following week, and then we talk again about who the people are, how we say their names, and what their relationships are. And then these probably take me 6 weeks to go through, because they're just the storyline and I want them to narrate, and we're just not trying to get through it at a really fast clip. So we're actually going to do Hamlet next, because we learned that Hamlet is the same storyline, or Lion King is the same storyline as Hamlet. So we're going to read Hamlet and kind of see how is it similar to the Lion King, and just have fun with that. So that's what I'm doing for our morning basket. I have actually assigned days of the week to each of those books so that I don't have to remember which book have I read this week, which one have I not. I just, they're assigned. And if I miss a certain book at the beginning of the week, I will add it in later, or decide, kind of as it goes, which book, isn't going to make it that week. We're doing morning time 4 days a week now. And we were doing it fewer in the fall, and I really missed it. I missed the singing. I missed the poetry. I just felt like I needed more food, and that this gave me so much nourishment personally. And I wanted to share that, of course, with my kids. And so I've kind of transitioned to making sure we have a snack, making sure we have, all the things we need. And it doesn't take that long. It's been really fun. So that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.